Welcome to Agents Growth Academy. I am your headmaster, Jim Schubert, and I am excited to have with me today my special guest, Michael Overstreet. Going to introduce him in just a second. You can see him on screen if you're watching this on video. We're going to talk a lot about video today. I hope you're ready to grow big or go home. Folks, you can see if you're watching this, I've got to pay a bill. I've got a great new partnership with ePay Policy. They have changed the way that we collect receivables in our agency. And you guys heard me talk about this before, but I can't overstate it. We were literally taking 5 to 7 business days to collect premium from customer from agency bill and then remitting it to the carriers. And now it's gotten down to about less than 24 hours, literally, because all we do is create an invoice online and then send the client the link, and they have a choice between ACH and credit card, and boom, we get the money. So it's that simple. They just came out with something really cool. I actually had a chance last week to interview their CEO, who's been on the job for, I think, 14 months. Mark Engels, super awesome guy. Check that episode out when it comes out. And he was talking to me about Checkmate, which is for all the people who still receive paper checks and just can't seem to get all the paper checks coming in the door. They now have a processing system in the background where they get a lockbox and your clients can send it to that address instead. ePay does all the processing in the background and even integrates with your agency management system to reconcile it. And it's all just done. Super easy. There's a special link if you go to the show notes of this episode to get to their website and check that out. So check that out when you get a chance. Folks, I'm going to read Michael's bio in his words because, well, that's how he wrote it. He says, "I love to create education content." Me too, man. "I love to use video to do so." I do too. Oh my gosh. I've been in insurance for over a decade and just recently merged my agency with 2 others. We are just having fun as we bring our agencies together. I failed a lot, so I have learned a lot of good lessons over the years. Welcome to Agents Growth Academy, Michael. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, thank you for having me, Jim. I'm excited. Anytime I can talk video and content, I love it.
Heck yeah, man. Absolutely. So tell me about the merge. How and when did that happen and what's it been like?
Yeah, so it happened official February 1st, and I did it with 2 other agency owners, 2 guys that I just got to know over time. We weren't friends before, but we became friends as we went to all these insurance conferences. You know, there's tons of insurance conferences now, so we got to know each other over time. We really realized that all 3 of us have different things that we're really good at and things we're not really good at. And so we just complemented each other, and it made sense to bring it all together, join forces, and conquer the world. So that's kind of what we're doing.
Heck yeah, man. I love it. And speaking of conferences, that's actually how you and I met at Jason Cass's Brain Share conference. And I always want to say St. Louis, but it was Kansas City. I don't know why I can't get that straight in my head. This is an Atlanta boy. I don't know. You'd think I'd never.
It's all the same over there anyways.
Yeah. West.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's funny. You talk about like all the insurance conferences these days. I mean, they're actually fun. Like you would tell your friends that and they would just shake their head and go, "You are delusional." But they are actually fun. And you and I were just talking about what are we both speaking at?
Yeah, Better Agency Conference here in Phoenix, which is awesome. I mentioned it's in my backyard, so I'm extremely excited. And this conference seems like insane. Nick and the guys at Better Agency, I mean, they have Damon John from Shark Tank coming in.
Oh my gosh.
Which is crazy. I mean, you and I are going to be up on the same stage as him. That's a little crazy to think about, but talk about expectations.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And it's great. I mean, I love the fact that, that Nick and his team invites people like you and me to come share what we've learned. You talked about some failures. I'd love to hear about some of that along the way in our discussion. But you said that if this interview were a masterclass, it would be called "Why You're Missing Out If You're Not Producing Video Content in Your Agency." Mm-hmm. Tell me, was there like an epiphany moment for you or something that happened that was like, okay, this is important?
Yeah. So I'll kind of lead my way into it. So, kind of right now in the insurance world, we are hearing like two trains of thoughts. We have all the new insure tech companies and the companies all online, your Lemonades, things to that nature, Root, where they want everything online.
Yeah.
People that don't ever want to talk to an agent or don't see the value in an agent. Then you have the old school people over here that are like, no, all that insure tech is the devil. Don't do anything online. You need to come into my office, sit down at my desk across from me, and let me, as the professional, advise you and help you.
Yep.
Okay, so we have the two opposite sides of the spectrum. In my
Yeah.
opinion, and yeah, it kind of was an epiphany, the sweet spot is in the middle, right?
Heck yeah.
So we can
Usually
use,
is.
yeah, usually it is. We can use content, video content, educational content to help educate consumers, get them into our funnel, and then drive them in to us and give them the easiest customer experience possible. But we don't have to be old school and have them come in and sit down across from us. We can still educate and advise via video content.
I love it. Okay, so I've got a bunch of questions just from what you said there. Drive them into our funnel. Tell me what that means. I think I understand, but for those who might not, you remember, folks, this show is all about branding, marketing, and agency operations. So this is squarely in the branding and marketing aspect, right? So for those who don't understand the concept of funnel, explain that for a second. And what do you mean by driving them into your funnel?
Yeah, yeah. So I'll preface it with oh, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, marketing.
Yeah.
So people know when they're being marketed to these days. They
Yeah.
know when there's an ad and they want you to click on it and you want to capture their email address or get their
Yep.
phone number. Like people know, people are smart because we're inundated with it. Like I read some statistic like you're hit with ads like a couple thousand times a day just
Oh
based
my
off of
gosh.
your phone. You're on your computer, you're driving around, you're at the store.
Yeah.
So people know that.
Yeah.
However, if we can pull them in with good educational content, something that they actually want, something that they need, and
Yeah.
then no tricks. Hey, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to give you good educational content.
Yeah.
Leave me your email, leave me your cell phone. I'm going to continue to message you these types of things.
Yep.
Okay, so once we have their contact information, they're in our funnel and we can continue to market or educate to these people. And then guess what? When the time comes to where they need help, who are they first going to think of? Oh, these guys who never tried to sell me anything, but all they
Yeah.
tried to do was educate me. I know they can help me.
Man, we've talked about that so much on this show too, about uh, the play of giving first and honestly without even expecting anything in return. Now,
Mhm.
granted, I know that from a marketing standpoint, yeah, you are expecting something to happen, but like you're saying, it's not being pushy. You're giving, 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 and then there's going to come that time when they're going to say, oh man, I really do not like where my insurance is placed right now. Something's happening, something's wrong. I'm going to contact Michael because I see his videos all the time.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I talked about these old school agents that are like, "Hey, come and sit down in front of me." But then you see some of those same agents running like these marketing campaigns wherever they are, where all they're talking about is, "I'll get you the cheapest price. I'll get you the best price." And it's like, "Wait, you want to be the advisor, but then you're marketing in a completely different way." It makes no
Yeah.
sense.
No, absolutely not. Can you describe a little bit about what your funnel looks like?
Yeah, so we use a CRM called Better Agency, the
Yes.
conference that we'll be
Yep.
attending in April.
Yep.
So we dump everything into there. We are constantly, trying to capture those email addresses and those cell phone numbers. So even if we have prospects come in that we never sign up, they're not our clients. We are hitting them monthly with educational content. So they get emails
Awesome.
and text,
Oh
and
my
it's all
gosh.
like there's nothing like, hey, call us, we can save you money. It's
Yeah.
hey, we're going to talk about umbrella policies, why it's necessary. After you read this, if you think you need one, call your insurance company and get an umbrella.
Yeah.
So it's pure like educational, but we are staying in front of these people that are in
Yes.
our funnel at least once a month. They're getting content from us.
Okay, so that's easy enough in theory to do the emails, the typed version, just text. But we're talking about video here.
Yep.
Why video? And I mean, Why not
You
just send the email?
Yep. So two things on that. The first thing, going back to email, every single email that we send out has a video attached to it.
Oh, wow.
So that way people can just click on that video and watch it if they don't want to read. But
Yeah.
then on top of that, your funnel can look like, as you capture these, well, two things. You capture their email addresses, but also you put tracking codes on your website, right? So then you can redirect and remarket to these people. So people who have watched your videos in the past, people who have clicked on your website on the past, you can serve up this educational content to them via Google Ads, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, things to that nature. You can follow these people around the internet with your educational content.
Okay, I may sound a little unintelligent when I say this, especially for a branding and marketing show, but I knew that you could retarget with Facebook. I knew that you could retarget with Google. And I know that Google owns YouTube, but you can retarget to YouTube?
You can, yes. Now
Wow.
there are some guidelines, and I honestly have not retargeted with YouTube lately.
Okay.
But yes, you can go in, and it's just like if you were going in to run Google Ads, you
Yeah.
can say, "Hey, this video, whoever watched this video, I want to retarget them."
Okay.
The only stipulation is you can't if you only have like 100 people that have watched your video. That's not
Yeah.
enough. I think the threshold is like 1,000 views on a video to be able to retarget those people.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Ne-
But yeah, it's
ne-
and it's simple. Just like any
yeah.
other Google ad, you can do it using YouTube.
All right. So, what's the biggest secret to success with video that you've learned of all the
So
videos? Because how many videos have you made? Do you know?
uh, hundreds, if not up into the thousands.
That's what I thought, man. I was just going to, your agency's YouTube, and I mean, it's just scrolling, tons of videos.
Well, and then there's my old YouTube from my old agency where I have a bunch on there as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So you're like rebuilding all that content now.
I am. In fact, what I'm doing is I'm picking on my old YouTube all the successful videos and I'm just redoing them on this new one. So
Brilliant. Yeah. And for those that weren't listening, rewind that because that's a super secret pro tip. Do more of what's successful when it comes to marketing. That's one of the biggest things that I think people don't
100%.
think about.
Yep. Find what's
Yeah.
working well for other people and then just spin it your own way and make it even better.
Yeah. And whatever works for you too, whatever, like I remember I had my first viral post on LinkedIn go viral over the summer. And it was sort of more, it was a blend between business and my family. And it got like, in the first 3 days, I think it had like 3 to 5 million views. And I
Holy moly.
gained like, I don't know how, I think I gained like 6,000 followers on LinkedIn in the course of a
Wow.
week, which was insane.
That's
But,
insane.
I had actually, do you know Hayato Nakamura?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he and I had recorded before a podcast episode,
Um,
but then he contacted me and he was like, "Dude, we got to break this down." Actually, I think I reached out to him and said, "What the heck just happened? You're the LinkedIn expert here." And he was
uh-huh.
like, "Why don't we jump on a video and we'll record and I can give you some." But one of the things he said was because now that you know part of the algorithm, like what was successful and some things to pick apart from this, learn from that and use it in other content. So that's a big
Love
thing.
it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So what are some secrets to success when it comes to video? What's working?
Yeah.
What's not working?
So the first answer that I'll give is cliche and I almost hate saying it, but it's extremely important because it's where most people stop and get hung up and don't keep going. You have to be consistent.
Amen.
100%. You have to be consistent. So don't be like, "Oh, I'll try this video thing out today and we'll see how it
Yeah.
works." Like, no, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. and
Yep.
and so you need to come into it with a plan, with a schedule, know exactly what you're going to be doing, when you're going to record, when you're going to post. You need to know all of that, and then you cannot stop doing it.
Why is that
Because if you
important though?
so it's extremely important for a number of reasons. The first one is from just a consumer standpoint. Like, no one's going to remember you if you post 2 or 3 videos for like two or
Right.
three weeks and then
Yeah.
you're gone. Like, you just wasted your time.
Who
Essentially, is
was
what
that
you did.
guy?
Those 2 and 3 weeks, you wasted your time.
Right.
And the same thing happens with like direct mailers that
Mm.
still can be successful. If
Yep.
you don't do it for 6, 7, 8, 9 months in a row, it's not going to help.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing, is you just have to constantly be in front of people.
Yeah.
But then from like a social media, YouTube algorithm standpoint, their algorithm wants to see consistency. They want to see you
Oh yeah.
posting consistency. They want to see you posting on the same day. They want to see you posting at the same time. And
Yeah.
so when you do those things, you're triggering to YouTube and the other social platforms, hey, I'm legit. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to do this consistently. And so then what can happen is YouTube is like, I like this guy. He's
Yeah.
consistent. And then they start pushing your content.
Yeah. Amen, brother. Thinking back to that conversation I had with Hayato, he said, actually, one of the reasons that I think you went viral is because you had consistency for months and months and months through your podcast and everything you were posting on LinkedIn. So
Yep.
you are dead on there. Anything else, success secrets that you think when it comes to video?
Yeah. Don't be boring. Be yourself.
Really?
You know what I'm saying?
Good
Like
one.
people are like, "Oh, video. Now I'm on camera. I can't smile and I can't like let my personality show. I had to be all business." And it's like, no, man. Like you got to stand out from the crowd. Like more and more people are jumping into video.
Yeah.
And so if you're just producing the same boring content that everybody else is, no one's gonna like you. No one's gonna watch your videos. So like you gotta just like maybe you have a boring personality. That's fine. Be boring. Maybe you have a crazy personality. That's fine. Be crazy. But you just have to like let your personality show because if you're not letting your personality show, you might as well just be writing blog posts because it's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So,
you're absolutely right, man. And I know that with the podcast I've done, some of the episodes, people will say, like people who are listening to the show will say, man, that was a really fun episode. I'm like, but there you go, right? You got to let your personality
yeah.
shine.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. I noticed that when I was watching your videos, you do a really good job editing them. And I'm wondering, like, do you have somebody helping you? I also noticed that unless you're literally, when you were talking about medical payments, walking into surgery, it looks like you may also sprinkle in some stock video footage, like to make it
Yep.
look even more professional. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, yeah. So here's what I always recommend when people talk about the video editing part. First of all, don't let that stress you out.
Yeah,
In terms of editing, like if initially you're horrible at editing and you're using some horrible program, that's fine. Getting something out is better than nothing, right?
yeah.
But what I did is I started out learning how to edit myself
Ooh,
um,
yeah,
in Premiere Pro, Adobe. That,
yep,
in my opinion, that's where everyone should be editing their videos.
yeah.
But I figured out how to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
That way, I figured out what I liked, the style, things to that nature, and then I hired somebody who's a video editor. They do it for me, but now I can have an intelligent conversation with my editor and say,
Yeah,
"Hey, let's do this. Let's look at this. Can you change this?"
yeah,
And we can actually communicate back and forth together. So
yeah.
um, that I love having her because it's like, okay, I shoot the video, send it off to her. 3 days later, it comes back and it's done.
Dude, isn't that amazing? And what
Yeah.
have you just done there? You've saved yourself a ton of time.
E-
Right.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And to your next question, yeah, I use what's called motionarray.com.
Okay.
Um, and they have stock video, images, and audio.
Oh,
And
cool.
my editor just has free range to that, and she just goes in and finds whatever is relevant to that specific video.
Awesome. Motion array. I hadn't heard of that one. I'm a hobby landscape photographer, and I have some of my work up on shutterstock.com, and I know they also do video, but this makes sense. This is probably a lot more heavy on video rather than anything else.
Exactly, and it's
Yeah.
unlimited, so you pay your monthly fee and you can use as much as you want, which makes it
Yeah.
nice.
So I know people that are listening to this or watching this are probably thinking, okay, Michael, this is awesome. This sounds fun, but I'm going to do all this work. Am I actually going to see results from it? What results that are measurable can you share with us?
Yeah, so a couple points on that. If you decide to go down this road, you're not going to see instant results. Like just get
Right.
that in your head.
Yeah.
It's not like you're buying online leads and like you turn it on and boom, your pipeline is full.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
It takes time and again consistency as you continue to do so. So um, I w- I had built a YouTube channel for gardening. I don't know if you know this. I probably should have
Oh
told you this
yes,
before.
you sent it to me at the conference. I remember
Yeah.
because, and then I watched one of the videos, and you were like, "Oh, was that my video on some random plant that I had never heard of?" Like,
Uh-huh. Yep.
yes, it was
Yep.
super cool.
So that's kind of where I like have gotten a good majority of my education is
Yeah,
from there. So just last week, I hit 10,000 subscribers,
that's
and
awesome.
it's growing. And so I'm learning things from that. And what I've learned is to see any type of traction on YouTube, it's going to take 6 months.
Yeah,
And
I would agree with
and
that.
I'm starting to see that with, because this YouTube channel is new. We launched it when we merged on February 1st, so it's just about 6 months old. And
Okay,
so I'm starting to see that traction there. But I
yeah,
knew going into it, like I would post a video and it would have one view for 2 months on YouTube, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so if you're new to this, you're like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I'm not
yeah,
good at this video thing. This video
yeah,
thing is crazy. Michael doesn't know what he's talking about.
yeah, yeah,
But now some of those videos are starting to catch on. They're seeing more
yes,
views. And you can go in there and you can measure, like if we want to talk about really narrowing it down to our target audience within YouTube's analytics, you can see where people are watching from, what device they're watching on, what keyword got them there. You can see all that information on
yeah,
analytics.
yes,
And
yeah.
so
That is
that's,
super cool. Yeah.
yep.
Well, a couple of things from that. Number one, you're right. I forgot about your gardening channel, and you exude so much personality in that show. It's obvious that you are passionate about gardening in one of the driest places on earth,
Right? Exactly.
which
You
is
know
why
what's
it's
funny?
unique too.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I do these videos, my garden videos, I don't feel like I'm all excited, but everybody tells me the exact same thing you just told me. Like you can see how excited you are,
Oh, you are.
and so
Yeah,
that just goes back to my point of like, let your personality show. People are going to see
yeah.
that.
And also, I think it's worth saying, choose a subject. And obviously, if you're an agency owner, or you're trying to make it on YouTube to do what we're doing here, what we're talking about with driving leads to the agency, you have to be passionate about the subject to some degree, right? And I can even tell that when I watch the videos that you do for the agency, like the stuff, and you are passionate about it. Because if you're not, people are going to see right through that. People are going to switch it off. Listen to that.
100%.
I'm using like an old man term, like switch off the TV. They will bounce. Is that hipper
Don't
cooler? I don't know.
bounce. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah. Don't bounce.
Hey,
um,
even Google Analytics uses the term bounce rate, so
you're
we
right.
got to be hip like Google and say bounce.
There you go. I am hip. I'm going to tell my kids that later. I am hip. Um, yeah. And the other thing out of that too is, with my photography channel, mine's not as large as yours, but then again, I stopped creating content. I was consistently creating for probably 9 to 12 months.
Uh-huh.
And it did take time, you're right, for that to gain traction. Once it did, I could see videos that I had made several months ago like start to spike. Some of those are still going, even though I haven't created content for it in about a year. I've just had my attention on other things. And I've still got, I'm gaining maybe, I don't know, like 20 subscribers a month, 30 subscribers a month. And I haven't done anything in a year. I can't imagine if I were to pick that back up.
Exactly.
I've got maybe 1,200 subscribers now. Maybe I would be where you are, 10,000 or
Yeah.
more. Who
Yep.
knows? Yeah.
100%. And that's something else. What you just said triggered another thought of mine.
Yeah.
When you put these videos online, wherever they may be, YouTube specifically,
Yep.
those are your salespeople. That's your digital billboard
Oh,
24/7
I love
for
it.
the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yes.
it's not like a one time, hey, let's get this out there
Yep.
and hopefully people see it. People will see it forever,
Yep.
and
It's
those leads
it's
will come in because of that.
it's a gardening term. It's evergreen. It's
Exactly.
evergreen
Exactly.
content, right? How
Yep.
appropriate. I
Exactly.
love it.
Like
No,
I
that's
just had
so
one
true.
video. Oh, I was gonna say I just had one video on my garden channel that just took off. It had like 80,000 views. I just looked yesterday. It's up to 200,000 views now. It just keeps going and going and going. And I posted
What?
that video like
Oh,
2 years ago.
dude, that is awesome.
Yeah.
So
And
now, whatever it was that you made that about, go make another one, right?
that's yes. Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And they call them, I forget what the exact term is, but in the YouTube world, they call them like trees or branches. So if you
Yes.
find one video that's a hit, then yeah, you just build off of that. Similar subject, but a little
Yeah.
bit different. And you can build from that and continue that traction because YouTube sees that. If that many people are watching that one video, YouTube sees that. YouTube
Yep.
suggests that video to
Right.
other people. And then
Right.
if you have other videos tied to that video, YouTube will suggest those videos as well. So it's just
Yep.
like a snowball reaction.
Yeah. Absolutely. Trees and branches. Does
There you
everything
go.
you say have to do with gardening?
You know what? Anytime I like talk to people or I'm like giving advice, I try to use a gardening example. Yes. So at the Better Agency conference, you better believe my talk will have some gardening references.
I think the title of your speech should. I
Good
love
idea.
it. Real quick with this before we jump into the rapid fire round, what are some lessons learned through this process of video content creation?
Yeah, so I would say the first one is what people refer to as analysis paralysis, right?
Mm.
Like I am someone where I like to have everything thought out and built out and on paper before I
Yep.
actually start doing what I'm doing.
God, it's like you're my
You're
brother.
wasting, right?
Yeah.
You're wasting time if you're doing that. And
Yeah.
in today's world where more and more people are picking up on video and there's more content getting out there, you don't have time to waste. You need to get your content out there as soon as possible,
Yeah.
right? Doesn't matter if it's perfect because when people go and watch your videos, they're not looking for perfection. They're looking for someone that they can relate to, that they
Yep.
feel is a real person, not like a multi-billion dollar company
Yeah.
talking to them, but a real person with
Yeah.
real personality that they can know and understand and
Yeah.
trust. And so I
Yes.
would say like that's the biggest mistake is sometimes I move too slow and then like by the time I get around to it, it's irrelevant at that point. And so I can't do anything. So I would say just like be confident in yourself, you know. Oh, that's another thing. A mistake is it took me a long time to get started with
Mm.
video because I wasn't confident in myself. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna put this video out. Everybody's gonna see it. People are gonna
Yeah.
laugh at me. I'm friends with a bunch of different insurance agents online. They're gonna
Yeah.
nitpick everything I say, and
Yeah.
so I would say like that's the biggest mistake is just not jumping right into it and not being afraid to be who you are.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love it. Um, Gosh, and piggybacking off a couple things there, when you're talking about the like being genuine and being somebody that somebody trusts, I think the word that comes to mind is authenticity. Like
Yes.
people want to see people who are authentic because if you're not like, I mean, this is all part of like, I'm literally writing about this right now in my book about storytelling and business. It's, how
Mhm.
do you influence people to take action? And one of the biggest things that storytelling does is allows you to be authentic in one of the most
Yes.
one of the purest ways. And I think what you're doing in on both channels, like you are definitely authentic. And again, going back to that passion, like you have that
Yeah.
and it projects. Another thing you said too with folks in the insurance industry and agents who are listening to this saying like, okay, Michael's giving me the therapy that I need right now to actually get started on this. And I feel like, okay, so what he's saying is that no, people like your peers aren't going to make fun of you and nitpick it at you.
Nope.
I would say my experience doing the podcast and doing the video along with it, actually it's the opposite. Your
Yes.
peers will support you.
Yes.
They will cheer you on. And I mean, just putting stuff out on LinkedIn, people giving a thumbs up or a heart or leaving a comment, and it keeps you going
100%.
too. And I think in this industry in particular, I don't know if it's unique, but we are very giving people, very
Yes.
compassionate people. I think you have to be if you're in the industry that we're in, because we
Right.
literally, when people use our product, it's on the worst day of their life, or
Yes.
it's on a pretty bad day, right? And so
Yep.
you have to have that compassion. So I think video lends itself well because of that authenticity.
100%. And one thing, because I know we had to jump in, when we talked about doing something that you're passionate about, a
Yeah.
lot of people will think, well, how can I be passionate about car insurance or auto insurance? Well,
Okay.
maybe you
Fair.
can't be, but you can be passionate to your point about helping other people and
Yes.
educating people. And
Yes.
that's what I'm passionate about, is helping. I see people getting screwed over by insurance companies or attorneys or things to that nature. And I'm like, I just want to help you and give you the information that you need. So
Yeah.
you can always find a passion, you
Yeah.
just have to look at it in a different angle.
Yeah. I love that, man. Education. That's truly what it's about, because when you're educating, you're giving somebody something, you're helping them do something without expecting anything in return, right? That's
Exactly.
awesome. All right, man. Rapid fire round. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. What is one piece of technology or software you can't live without?
So this may sound like very basic, but canva.com. I use
Yes.
Canva for everything, man, because I'm always like adding to my website or making thumbnails, and it's just like so quick and easy. I love it.
Yeah. And don't tell Canva, but it's cheap.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
I pay like $12 a month or something like that. It's
Yeah,
insane.
it's
Yeah.
well worth it to be able to get in there and knock out stuff like in 2 seconds. I love
Yeah.
it.
Well worth it. Absolutely. All right. One book you're reading right now or that you've read recently you want to share with folks.
Yeah, so this one may bore some people, but insurance people should be listening. So hopefully,
Yes.
I generally usually I don't read any insurance related books or even
Yeah.
listen to insurance related podcasts.
Yep.
But I'm currently reading one. It's called When Words Collide.
Ooh.
And it's by some guy. I don't even know his name, but he worked at ISO for a while, helped develop those forms.
Yeah.
He's been a consultant to insurance agents and companies for years, helping claims get covered that need to get covered. He's basically an expert when it comes to policy language. And like you would think that's a boring book, but as you read through it, like the examples he uses and experiences he shares, it's just
Yeah.
incredible and mind blowing. And it's actually helping me know which type of content to produce.
Ooh, I love it. Stories he shares. You had me at that
There you go.
with the
I knew you like
storytelling. That's
that.
awesome. When words collide. That's really cool.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
I would give a lot of advice to my younger self. That's for sure. But I would say, like, I have this problem. I've talked about a lot of problems I have, but I have this problem where I'm like jumping from this to this shiny object to this shiny object,
Oh, yeah,
doing this
we really
halfway,
are brothers.
right? And I'll like,
Oh no, you froze on me.
let me move
Oh, you
over here.
froze on me.
Oh,
We're back. We'll have the
am I
team
back?
edit
Okay.
that out. So jumping from one
Okay.
shiny object to another. Tell me.
Yes. So I'll like be really intense on one project, and then I get bored, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, let me jump over here, and then I'll
Yep.
jump over here. And from a business perspective, and also just from like a life perspective, like I'm as I get older, it's like be more present. And I
Mm,
think in business, like whatever you're doing at that time, give that your 100% undivided attention
yep.
and give it your best effort.
Yeah.
Once you're done with that and you gave it your best effort and it's the best thing you could have built, then move on to the next thing, right? And then
Yep.
be present on that and then move on to the next thing. So
Yeah.
I just think like being more focused and present would have helped me out immensely.
Dude, that's awesome. We talk about him a lot on the show, but he's been a guest. New York Times best-selling author Tommy Breedlove. Are you familiar with him? He
I'm
wrote a
familiar
book
with him.
called
No.
Legendary. Write that down
Okay.
because Legendary. It is what you're describing. He solves that problem for men like us. Well, for everybody, but he does actually do men's retreats. And I went
Oh,
on
nice.
one after I read his book. Changed my life. I'm part of his mastermind
Wow.
now. It's unbelievable. When you talk about presence, yeah, because we are. I know I keep joking. People are gonna be like, "This is like the sappiest episode ever." He keeps calling his brother, but like you and I are very similar in that regard. I used to call it shiny thing syndrome, or like squirrel like syndrome. And I
Right.
was like, it's actually shiny squirrel syndrome for me.
There
It's
you go.
so
I
bad.
like
It's
it.
just can't keep attention. But yeah, that's being present and finishing things. That is such a good advice. Good advice. I should go back in time and give that to myself too.
Right. I would love it.
Yeah. All right. Super secret question. Not sure if you were expecting this or not, but if you had now this, I'm asking this of someone who's living in one of the hottest places on our planet. But if you had the choice to eat a delicious bowl of hot soup or have some gourmet marshmallows and hot chocolate, what would you choose?
Ooh. Soup.
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 What?
And the reason I say that, as I've gotten older,
Yeah.
like I cannot consume stuff that is super sweet
Yeah.
anymore without getting sick, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like one bite of that second option or one drink of, and I would be like, okay, I'm good. But with soup, like I can eat all of that and like feel good about myself afterwards.
Heck yeah. What's your favorite soup?
So there is this place, just forgot the name of the restaurant, but it's tomato basil soup.
Oh yeah.
It's Cafe Zupa. That's what it is. Cafe Zupa, and they have this tomato basil soup. So good.
Awesome. I'm going to send you and your lovely family a gift for being on the show from a company called Spoonful of Comfort. And they make unbelievable soup. There's a really good story behind it, too. If you go to their website, I think it's spoonfulofcomfort.com. But we've given it to a lot of our guests who choose that. And we've also given it to our employees during the pandemic when we couldn't get together for our usual employee appreciation brunch. So
Love it.
they're
Love
not
it.
a sponsor, but I just love their soup. So
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'll look forward to it.
yeah, my pleasure, man. I'll get your details off air, but tomato basil coming at you.
Awesome.
Michael, what's one final piece of advice or actionable step that you would give to our audience about what we talked about today?
Yeah. So this goes back. We already kind of briefly touched on this, but I think it's important. Do not care what other people think. It's a very hard thing to put video out there and put yourself out there because most people can't even stand to watch themselves on video.
Yeah,
And so the thought of having everybody else see their video and nitpick it and have it be there for the rest of their lives is like it can be daunting.
yeah,
But my thing to people is who cares? Be yourself, put it out there, be confident in who you are, and don't apologize for it. And I guarantee you'll see success. And 6 months after the fact, you won't even care. I tell my wife, like, before I started video, I was scared. Like, I'd be looking around, oh, who's watching me record this video? Now I'll grab my phone in the middle of a restaurant and record a video. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. So that would be my thing, is just like be confident and who cares what other people think.
I love it. It's such sound advice. God, you know what? I met you like however many months ago, and we talked about doing this show. I couldn't have
Mhm.
imagined that it would fit so perfectly with the theme of branding and marketing. So this is
Right?
awesome. Love it. Michael, where can people get more of you in their life if they're looking to connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm on all the socials. The YouTube channel is Heritage Advises. The website, heritageadvises.com. You can find me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook a lot because I share a lot of my content there. So
Yeah,
Michael Overstreet, just look me up and shoot me a Facebook message if you have any questions. I tell all agents I'm happy to help you on anything video related. Hit me up. I'll help you.
I love it. And if people want to check out your gardening, if there happen to be
Yes.
gardeners, where do they go?
So the channel is called The Garden Nerd, because
Yes.
I love to nerd out over that. And you'll see it because you'll see my face right there and I'm holding a bunch of fruit. So you'll know it's me.
That's awesome, man. Oh my gosh. Michael, this has been an awesome episode. Thank you so much for being on today, brother. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Absolutely. You stick with me for 1 second. Everybody else, grow big or go home.